Hey everybody, welcome back to one of my budgeting videos. Can you believe it? I'm back at a desk. I finally got the little nook area that's going to be where I set up and do my budgeting. Sort of set up. It's not completely done yet. I still have chaos outside of the view of the camera, but at least I have a desk that I can sit at and do math, which who would have thought that would be a thing I would aspire to. So I thought I would go back to the type of video where I'm writing out the budget as I'm talking. I haven't done one like this in a while, so if I lose my train of thought while talking and the whole thing just becomes utter nonsense, I apologize in advance. So I'm gonna stick with the format of writing on this paper the same way I did with this page versus writing on like the note page from a notepad and then taping it in, just because I'm kind of enjoying it. It might wear off eventually, but for now the novelty is still there. So this is for my March 22nd paycheck. And also, can I say gold star to me for doing my budget on the actual weekend that I got paid? We all know I've sucked at that lately. So my balance in the account is $1,855.42. The very first thing I'm going to do is pull out $650 to put aside. That's half of my rent. So it's leaving me with $1,205.42. Next is going to be my line of credit payment, $346.32. Which is already bumping me down out of the thousands and into $859.10. I always get nervous as soon as I'm in 3 digits before the decimal point because you know it's going to be tight. 100 onto the Visa. Oh, I just pressed the wrong button. $859.10 minus 100, $759.10. Now the line of credit, that's the minimum payment needed, and I always make the minimum payment every paycheck. The Visa, the minimum payment is actually, I think it's, was it 60 something or 80 something? I can't quite remember. I rounded it up because my Visa is quite high and I want to make some kind of a dent in it, and I know rounding it up to 100 isn't making that much of a dent, but I figure any little bit helps, so rounding it up. My SUV payment, and it's an automatic withdrawal and it'll go out on Tuesday, is next. That's $266.72. Oh, I kind of squished my line there. So $492.38, and then my Neo payment is a whopping $4.47. So $487.91. As always, I put $60 onto my cell phone. And Striker. So the money that I keep intending to pull out as actual cash to put into a physical envelope that I still haven't pulled out for Striker's sinking fund and my work parking sinking, or not sinking fund, sorry, cash envelopes. For Striker's cash envelope and for my work parking cash envelopes, I still haven't pulled out. So right now it's up to $277.50. So Striker. So now I'm down to $150. and 41 cents. So I'm going to run out of money. I've already pre-done the math, so I already know that I'm going to run out of money, but I will show you why. So over here, just try to, oops, sorry, make it kind of look the same. So my cash envelopes, I have Striker, that's my cat if you're new. Work, parking, groceries, takeout, miscellaneous, fun, physio, and gas. So Striker, every paycheck, he gets $32.50, and I don't move it over to the digital cash envelopes like I do the rest. It's theoretically kept as actual cash, and I mean, I suppose it is because I leave it in my bank account, but I keep meaning to pull it out as physical cash in an envelope and not. Work, parking, I'm putting 0 in right now because I'm still working full-time from home, and in that number over here I have 2 weeks of parking already saved up. So when I do start going back into the office, I'll pull from that, and then that's when I'll start contributing back into that cash envelope. Groceries, I'm doing for only 1 week's worth. I already did my grocery shopping, and it actually was way more than what it normally would because I also bought ingredients for baking. I was working on a baking project for a friend. I sold her cheesecake. She paid me 40 bucks for it. Can you believe it? So I needed baking supplies, and so the groceries ended up being more than what they would have been if I was just buying for my week's worth of food. So I actually have to break down that receipt to figure out how much of that technically came out of my grocery money and how much came out of like other funds. I also bought in there a couple things for my upcoming trip in June, so that'll have to come out of my travel sinking fund. So it's math. I have to figure out math and where like the different envelopes and sinking funds will be paying for that particular shopping trip. I think it's been $150 something in total, and I try to limit my grocery budget every week to 60. So in that 150, I bought my groceries for the coming week, and I'll have to actually also figure out like, did I stay 60 or under just for those, like once they're taken, everything else is taken out of the equation. But I don't need to buy any groceries for this week, so even though this paycheck that we just got is for the next 2 weeks, I only need groceries for 1 week because I've already done the grocery shopping for the coming week, but I will need to shop next weekend. Does that make sense? I probably gave way too long of an explanation for that. I'm currently still giving myself 0 for takeout because money is tight. Miscellaneous gets 25. That's just to cover all sorts of things. Fun is 30. Physio, I cannot control the amount, it's 42, although I say that and I don't have an appointment next week because of the long weekend. They're not open on the Friday. Oh, so it actually, this paycheck I only need $21, but you know what, I'll put 42 anyways, and then I'll have like a little bit of a safety net, I guess, I don't know. And 25. So 32.50 plus 60 plus 25 plus 30 plus 42 plus 25 is $214.50, and then my sinking funds, my SUV insurance, my tenant insurance, my emergency fund, tech, dragon boat, presents, and travel. So my SUV insurance is $67, tenant insurance is $14, emergency fund I give $40, tech fund I give $15, Dragon Boat gets 20, presents get 20, and travel gets 40. So that's $216. So that means from my $150.41 remaining in my bank account, I need to pull out $214.50 for the cash envelopes. Just make sure my red's working. So $150.41 minus $214.50 is putting me negative by $64.09. And then I'm withdrawing $216 for sinking funds. Which is putting me negative $280.09. So you may be wondering, where am I magically coming up with the missing money, since I've deducted it out of the budget, and it's not like I'm going to let my bank account go into the negatives. It's my mother. While I'm working the modified work weeks and I'm getting short pay, she has offered to make up the difference in my budget when or if I need it. It's not really an if, it's my budget always needs it, as you have seen. I keep trying very hard to not need money from her, but this is just happening. This is just what it is. So she waits until I've done my budget and then waits for me to tell her how much I need to make up the difference, because I don't want to take any more than what I really need. I don't want her to just sort of give me a blanket large chunk of money, because if I can get by with less than that and take less from her, then I would rather do that. So I've asked her for $300, which I know is more than the $280.09. But if I ask for that amount exactly, then that means once everything's being moved around and paid, I will have $0 in the bank account, and that makes me nervous because I never know when bank fees are going to be withdrawn. They don't seem to come out with any kind of rhyme or reason, or else I'm just too dumb to figure it out. So those will come out eventually, and I will need to have money for that. But since I never know how much they're going to be, or like I said, when they're going to come out, it's kind of a bit of a guessing game. So I asked her for $300, and she's going to e-transfer that to me tonight, which means I'll be able to move money into my sinking funds and into my cash envelopes and pay all my bills, and take care of all of that. Now you'll see there's nothing extra to go into any savings challenges, or I should be putting money aside for my trip. I mean, I am putting money in the travel fund, and I will be using the travel fund for that, but I should be doing more, but there's just not more to move around. This is just kind of what it is. And I was watching a budgeting video today of somebody who I've never seen before, and I got super motivated to sit down and work on my budget, because she is currently debt-free. Now, I don't know her whole story. She made a comment about how she came into some money, so she was able to pay off her debt, and so all of her cash stuffing with her envelopes and everything was just money for her to be spending on whatever she wanted. She's American, I think, so she had a Target fund and a wild day fund or something, and a rainy day fund, so that if she ever decided to take a day off work without pay, she had money to make up the difference in the paycheck. She is just living an amazing debt-free lifestyle from the looks of this one whole video that I saw, and it got me really motivated for wanting to work on mine. And I really wish I had more money to be paying down the debt with, but I have to work with what I've got. And I know that with every pay that I make to the line of credit, because I make the minimum payment, but I make it every single paycheck, which means I'm always making double the minimum payment per month. I know that will start showing movement well before the Visa, even though the line of credit has a way higher balance on it, because I'm making a bigger investment on paying off that debt, I suppose. I'm gonna look into seeing if BMO or some other bank is doing like with what I did with BMO last year, where you set up a credit card with them, and if you move a credit card debt from like your current place of banking to them, you get it for like a year at a super low interest rate. I'm gonna see if I can find something like that, because that would be great, because then I can move the balance of the Visa over to a different card, not use the card ever, and just make payments on it. And the low interest rate means that the payments that I make will do more. I need to look into that, find out if anybody's doing any kind of an offer like that, because I think that might be a way to go in helping with the Visa debt. But yeah, I don't know, the person that I was watching today, and I'm sorry I can't remember the channel name, but I'll put it in the comment box below. She just got me super motivated for working on it again. And I mean, I paid off over 10,000 in debt. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I had it all sorted, and I paid off my last student loan, and I was doing really well, and I completely made it worse than it ever was. So I need to get out of it again. And I know that I can do it, but for some reason, even though I was working on the budget, not super reliably, but I did eventually get around to it every time. I wasn't doing it as well as I should have, and I wasn't being as motivated towards it as I should have been. But her video just sort of something clicked, and I really liked it, so I'm gonna try to do better. And I know I say some variation of that pretty often, but I actually do mean it. I mean it every time, but I actually feel the motivation for it right now. So when I turn off this camera, I'm gonna actually write out, let me find the book. This notebook, oh, I have receipts in it. Okay, I'm not going to open it, but this notebook is the one that I was using to actually track my spending from the cash envelopes. Since they are digital, I was going in and just sort of, let me open it to like an earlier month where there's no receipts that are going to fall out. So this is what I was doing with it at the very beginning when I started, you know, like writing out as I spent things, from which category it came out of, so that I could track it. And if I had any rollover for a specific category, then it would roll over to the next pay period. And, you know, and I just kept it going, and I was doing it for a while. And you can see sort of where, like, for me anyways, you know, you start off like with all the fun colors, and then somewhere mid-month, like, so in July of last year, it was July 16th, where I just switched over to a black pen, and it was really much more utilitarian, I suppose. It was more about getting the data in versus making it look cute. But I think that's totally fine, because I needed to get the data in, and I did. So I had this book, and it was working out, I want to say, like fairly well, at least for helping me with tracking where the spending was going out of my different cash envelopes. And I dropped the ball with it and never really got back into using it with any kind of regularity. But I'm going to sit down right now when I finish this video that I'm rambling on and on about, sorry about that, and set up one for this particular pay period and see if I can't get back into the habit of tracking that money a little bit better. Because I just think that if I'm tracking it in here, I'll feel like I'm in a little bit more control over it, and it also might help me reduce my impulse spending, because I mean, I'll know exactly how much I have left, say, in the miscellaneous category, and so I'll know with certainty that if I buy this thing that I'm looking at, it's going to put me over in that category, and I'm going to have to be accountable for that money from somewhere else. So where's it going to come from? And I just think that if I'm more accountable to it and to myself, I'll do a little bit better. And yeah, so I'm gonna get that done. And then you can't see it, but to the left I have chaos, because in my old apartment I had a bookcase near where I sat and did the budget, with all of like my budgeting books and stickers that I like to use and stamps and just all the stuff that I used when I was budgeting. And right now it's just all on like a cart on wheels in a pile of crazy. So I think I'm going to start working on organizing that a little bit. I don't think I'll get it all done in one go, but I'm going to try. And I think just the more I get that organized, and the more that I work on making this little alcove space like kind of cozy and what I want it to be, the more I'll look forward to working on the budget and enjoying working on it, and then the better I'll do. This is all in theory. I could be very wrong. But here we go. This is my budget for the last paycheck in March. I know it doesn't look good because it's in the negatives, but it is what it is, and I'm very grateful to my mom for helping me out with the difference in money that I need to make my budget work right now. And I do know that I've made the promise to myself. I have not told her yet because she'll not let me do it, but I have promised myself that once I get into a better place money-wise, like once I'm back working 5 shifts a week and my paycheck is more like what it's supposed to be and I can get back to a part-time job and I'm better again, I'm going to be putting some money aside so that I can sort of give her something back, because I want to, and she won't let me if I tell her I'm going to do it, so I'm going to have to surprise her with it, but that's fine. I'm up for doing that. But this is the budget. I hope yours is going well and that you're not going into the negatives the way I am. But if you are, I hope you have somebody who's able to help you out, or an emergency fund to pull from. Usually the emergency fund is what I pull from, but this is like a very long-term situation with the concussion, and so Mom made the offer and it just sort of made financial sense to say yes right now instead of using all my emergency fund. So here we go. Math, it is done. My brain only hurts a little bit, which is a minor miracle because math. Hopefully your balance is, or your balance, sorry, hopefully your budget is going well. Once I get this space set up, I'll do like a little video to show you the actual space that I'm working in, because I think it's going to be super cute once I have it sorted. Stay safe out there, you guys. Have a great next couple weeks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.